You know that word, superfood? It's everywhere, isn't it? You see it splashed across brightly colored packages in the grocery aisle, it's screaming at you from health magazine headlines, and it pretty much dominates your entire social media feed. We're talking about everything from goji berries supposedly harvested in some remote mountain range to kale, which, let's be honest, became a full blown cultural icon, to all these exotic powders with names you can barely even pronounce. And they're all presented as these modern day miracles, right? They promise to sharpen your mind, to boost your immune system, maybe even turn back the clock on aging. But you have to wonder, in a world that is so saturated with these incredible claims, you've got to ask a basic question. What here is actually real science and what's just really, really good marketing? Well, today we're going to cut right through all that noise. We are going to dissect the claims, we'll examine the evidence, and we're going to uncover the truth behind this whole superfood phenomenon. So, to really wrap our heads around the power of that superfood label, you first have to appreciate the sheer scale of this industry. Just look at this number. In 2024 alone, the global superfoods market is valued at over $216 billion. Now, this isn't some niche corner of the health food world. Oh, no. This is a colossal global industry, a financial juggernaut built entirely on the promise of better health through what we eat. You know, this number, it really represents our collective hope, doesn't it? Our desire for that nutritional silver bullet. But it also represents an almost unimaginable incentive for companies to find the next big thing, to package it up, slap a super label on it, and get it in front of you as fast as they can. All right, so to get to the bottom of all this, we've broken down our deep dive into five main parts. First up, we're going to follow the money to really understand the billion-dollar promise. Then we'll dig into the science and ask what truly makes a food super as we dissect its anatomy. In part three, and this is a big one, we'll pull back the curtain on the marketing, myths, and mind games. From there, we'll shift gears and move beyond the hype to build a new evidence based playbook for health. And finally, we'll look ahead to the future of our food and see exactly where this whole trend is heading next. Okay, so let's start with that $216 billion question. How on earth did this industry get so massive? This first section is all about following the money. See, by understanding the powerful economic and cultural forces at play here, we can start to see how simple foods, fruits, seeds, leaves, get transformed into these symbols of ultimate health and wellness, commanding some seriously premium prices along the way. The foundation of this entire industry really rests on a simple but incredibly powerful psychological principle. As this quote from a Nielsen survey points out, we, as consumers, want to believe that our food can be our medicine. In fact, that very same survey found that something like 80% of us actively see food this way. We're out there looking for specific items to help prevent major health problems like obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. And what this mindset does is it makes us not just willing, but often eager to pay a premium for any product that has a health claim on its label. It creates this powerful loop. The more we believe, the more we spend, and the more we see these labels, well, the more we believe. And believe me, this industry is only getting bigger. Just look at this projection. That $216 billion market is expected to more than double by 2035, climbing to over half a trillion dollars. That is a compound annual growth rate of 8.7%. To put that in perspective, that's expanding faster than many sectors of the entire global economy. This is not some passing fad. What we're looking at is a fundamental, long-term shift in how we think about and how we spend money on the food we eat. The momentum you're seeing on this chart, it's driven by a very deep and persistent human desire for health, for control, and for longevity. So what's really fueling this explosive growth? Well, market research points to a perfect storm of five powerful forces. It all starts with a general rise in health consciousness. Then you amplify that with the endless digital shelf space of e-commerce, which makes it possible to get some rare berry from the other side of the planet delivered right to your door. Now add to that the immense power of social media, where a health influencer can make a new superfood go viral in a matter of days. At the same time, you've got consumers demanding clean labels, shorter ingredient lists, names they can actually recognize, and nothing artificial. And all of this pushes companies into this cycle of constant, innovative product development, finding new ways to deliver these superfoods as powders, extracts, capsules, you name it. Which, of course, brings us right to the core question. We've seen the money, we've seen the hype and the incredible growth. But behind that billion-dollar promise and all the slick, persuasive marketing, what are we actually getting? I mean, is there even a real scientific definition of a superfood? It's time to pull back the curtain and finally get to the science. All right, so in this section, we're going to shift our focus from economics to biology. We're going to set aside all those marketing terms and look at what actual nutritional science has to say. I mean, what do scientists, dietitians, and nutritionists really mean when they talk about a high quality, beneficial food? Well, the answer, it turns out, is far more straightforward and honestly a lot less magical than the marketing would have you believe. It all really comes down to one key concept. And that concept is nutrient density. It sounds a little technical, but it's a simple idea with absolutely profound implications for your health. See, nutrient density is just the ratio of beneficial micronutrients, we're talking vitamins, minerals, and other helpful plant compounds, to the energy or the calories that a food provides. So, a highly nutrient dense food packs a massive nutritional punch in a very small caloric package. Think of it like getting the most health bang for your buck. And this, not a fancy label or some exotic origin story, is the true scientific measure of a food's quality. It's why a handful of spinach is more nutrient dense than a handful of potato chips. It's really that simple. Dr. Joel Furman, a really prominent physician in nutritional science, he actually distilled this entire concept down into one elegant and powerful formula: health equals nutrients divided by calories. This simple little equation reveals something huge. The key to achieving excellent health isn't some secret ingredient or a rare, expensive berry. Nope. It's the lifelong practice of consistently choosing foods that maximize that numerator, the nutrients, while managing the denominator, the calories. This is the fundamental first principle of healthy eating. It's a framework you can apply to literally any food in the grocery store, whether it's labeled super or not. So let's see this principle in action with a real world comparison. Let's call it the battle of the greens. On one side, you've got kale, right? The leafy green that took the health world by storm back around 2014, becoming a menu staple and a symbol of clean eating. And it's famously nutrient dense. But on the other side, you've got a newer contender, moringa, sometimes called the drumstick tree. Now, as you can see, they share a lot of nutritional strengths. Both are packed with vitamins and minerals, but there's a key differentiator here. Moringa contains three unique flavonoids. These are powerful antioxidant compounds that have been studied for their anti-inflammatory properties. Now, the point isn't that one is better than the other. The point is that they're different. Super is relative. It all depends on the specific nutrients you're looking for. And variety, well, variety's key. Now, beyond the standard vitamins and minerals, a lot of the power of these plants comes from compounds called phytochemicals. These are non-nutritive compounds found in plants that have protective or disease-preventive properties. This includes these huge families of compounds, like the glucosinolates you find in broccoli and kale, or the polyphenols that give berries their vibrant colors. And a growing body of research is showing us just how critical these things are. They can act as antioxidants, neutralizing damaging free radicals in our bodies. They feed the good bacteria in our gut, playing the key role in what's called the gut-brain axis, which links our digestive health directly to our cognitive function and even our mood. The documented anti-inflammatory properties of plants like sea buckthorn, for instance, are largely thanks to their unique phytochemical profile. So, when we talk about nutrient density, we're really talking about this vast, amazing universe of beneficial plant compounds. Okay, so we've established the science. At its core, it's about nutrient density, it's about phytochemicals, and it's about eating a wide variety of plant-rich foods. But if the science is that straightforward, how did we end up with a $216 billion industry built on hype and exotic claims? Well, in this section, we're going to pivot from the science of nutrition to the science of persuasion. We are moving out of the laboratory and into the ad agency to explore the marketing strategies and the psychological tactics used to create the superfood myth. This quote right here, it gets right to the heart of the matter. This is the central argument against all the hype. The term superfood has no official medical or scientific definition. Zero. It's not a category used by registered dietitians or food scientists in their research. It is purely and simply a marketing tool. And you know what? It is a very, very effective marketing tool because its power is in its simplicity and its powerful, unspoken promise of superior health. But it is absolutely crucial to remember that this label is applied by brand managers, not by scientists. So how does this marketing tool actually work on our brains? Well, one of the main mechanisms is a well-documented cognitive bias known as the halo effect. This is when our positive impression of a single trait, like a food being labeled a superfood, spills over and influences our perception of all its other traits. We just subconsciously assume the entire food must be good for us in every single way. The classic example of this is coconut oil. For years, it was marketed as this miracle weight loss food, creating a powerful health halo around it. And consumers just assumed it was beneficial in every way, despite consistent warnings from credible bodies like the American Heart Association that its extremely high saturated fat content can raise harmful LDL cholesterol. See, the halo effect can literally blind us to the bigger nutritional picture. And this halo effect is powered by a whole playbook of tactics. You need to watch for buzzwords like detox or anti aging that sound scientific but have little to no real clinical meaning. Let me be clear, your body's detox system is your liver and your kidneys, not a green juice. You should also notice the allure of exotic and rare foods. That's a strategy used to create scarcity and justify a much higher price. And please, be skeptical of celebrity and influencer endorsements, which often just substitute fame for actual scientific evidence. A particularly sneaky tactic is citing preliminary studies, research done in a petri dish or on mice, and presenting them as if they're conclusive proof for humans. This creates an illusion of scientific certainty where in reality, there's very little. And all of this translates directly into your grocery bill. This table really shows the financial cost of buying into the hype. Marketers convince us that we need these expensive, often imported ingredients to get certain key nutrients. But the truth is, you can often get the exact same benefits from much more common and affordable foods. Looking for heart-healthy omega-3s? You don't need to shell out for chia seeds. Flax seeds are a fantastic and much cheaper source. Need high-quality plant-based protein? A combination of lentils and brown rice gives you a complete protein, just like quinoa, for a fraction of the cost. And for a powerful antioxidant punch, you don't need to import acai berries from the Amazon. A handful of regular strawberries or blackberries are absolutely packed with them. This is all about being an informed, smart consumer. And that brings us to the most important myth we need to bust. The ultimate unspoken promise of the superfood industry is that of a quick fix. A single food that can act like a shield against disease. But as authoritative sources like Harvard Medical School and the American Cancer Society make unequivocally clear, this is a dangerous fantasy. No single food, no matter how nutrient dense it is, can act as a magic bullet against complex diseases. True health, it's the long-term result of your overall dietary pattern and lifestyle, not one magical ingredient you add to your smoothie. Okay, let's just pause here for a moment. We've just broken down the marketing and the myths behind this whole superfood industry. Now, before we move on to building a better, hype-free strategy for health, just a quick note. If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This helps the channel grow. And check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide. All right, we've deconstructed the marketing and we've dismantled the myths. But it's not enough to just point out what not to do. So in this section, we're shifting our focus to construction. We're going to build a new playbook, a positive, actionable, and completely hype-free framework for what genuine healthy eating actually looks like, all based on proven scientific principles. The real strategy for super health is refreshingly simple, and I promise you, it does not require a trip to a specialty store. It's built on 5 key principles. First, variety. It's so important. No single food has all the nutrients we need, so eating a wide range of different foods, eating the rainbow as they say, ensures you cover all your nutritional bases. Next, focus on whole foods. Things that actually look like they came from a farm, not a factory. Third, whenever you can, choose local and seasonal produce. This is usually when fruits and vegetables are at their absolute peak in both flavor and nutritional value. Fourth, aim for balance on your plate with healthy proteins, fats, and complex carbs at every meal. And finally, remember portion control. Because even healthy food has calories, and how much you eat matters just as much as what you eat. And if you want a simple visual blueprint for putting all these principles into practice, you don't have to look any further than the Harvard Healthy Eating Plate. It's a powerful, evidence-based guide for building a healthy meal every single time. The rule is simple. Just look at your plate. Fill half of it with a colorful variety of fruits and vegetables. Then, fill 1/4 with whole grains. Think brown rice, quinoa, or whole wheat bread. And fill that last quarter with healthy protein, like fish, poultry, beans, or nuts. The guide also reminds us to use healthy oils, like olive oil, when we cook, and to make water, tea, or coffee our primary beverages. This is what a balanced, nutrient-dense meal looks like. No superfood labels required. And here is a fantastic example of a dietary strategy that's grounded in rigorous scientific research, not marketing hype. A study out of Stanford Medicine put a group of people on a 10-week diet that was rich in fermented foods. Things like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, kombucha. These foods are full of live beneficial bacteria, and the results, they were remarkable. The participants showed a significant increase in the diversity of their gut microbiome, which is a key indicator of good gut health. And crucially, they had a measurable decrease in 19 different inflammatory proteins circulating in their bodies. Now, this is what real evidence-based nutrition looks like. A dietary pattern studied in humans that produces tangible positive health outcomes. And now for our final section. We've looked at the present, but where is all this heading? The health and wellness market is constantly evolving. It's always looking for that next frontier. So, in this section, we'll explore how the superfood trend itself is changing. The focus is shifting away from whole foods and towards something much more specific, much more targeted, and you could say much more scientific. This chart right here gives us a major clue about where the market is headed. Just look at how we're consuming superfoods. The single largest segment of the market isn't whole berries or leafy greens, it's powders, and the fastest growing segment is liquids. What this tells us is that the market and our own consumer preference is moving away from food in its natural state and towards more convenient, processed, and easily consumable forms. We're not just buying kale anymore, we're buying kale powder to throw in a smoothie. This trend towards extraction, concentration, and convenience, it's paving the way for the next evolution. And that evolution is a fundamental shift in both marketing and product development. The trend is moving away from selling a food for these vague, general health benefits and moving towards marketing highly specific compounds for highly targeted outcomes. The new frontier isn't just about being healthy, it's about things like enhancing cognitive function, improving your sleep quality, or, as we're about to see, directly managing the body's physiological response to stress. This new frontier is dominated by categories like adaptogens and nootropics. Adaptogens are compounds, often herbs or roots, that are believed to help the body adapt to and resist physical, chemical, and biological stress. Take ashwagandha, for example, an herb used for centuries in traditional Ayurvedic medicine. Clinical studies have actually shown it can significantly lower levels of cortisol, which is the body's primary stress hormone. Or look at rhodiola rosea, another adaptogenic root that can improve the body's resilience to acute stress. We're even seeing isolated compounds like phosphatidylserine, which is a type of fat that's a component of our cell membranes, being supplemented to blunt the release of cortisol during periods of intense stress. You see what's happening? We are moving from the farm to the lab, isolating specific molecules for specific biological effects. This timeline really puts the entire journey into perspective. You know, a decade ago, the superfood conversation was all about whole foods, defined by things like kale. Today, the market is this global exchange of processed powders, concentrated extracts, and exotic seeds. But the future, as we've just seen, it points towards an even greater level of refinement, a focus on scientifically isolated compounds, marketed not just as food, but as targeted tools to modulate our own biology for specific desired outcomes, from managing stress to enhancing focus. And so, after this entire journey, through the billions of dollars, the marketing psychology, the real science, and all these emerging future trends, we are left with one final and I think provocative question. As we move towards ever more complex extracts and patented formulations, is it possible that we've overlooked the simplest truth of all? That the most superfood isn't some rare berry from a remote mountain or a scientifically isolated compound, but simply a varied and balanced diet of real, whole, unprocessed food. It's something to think about. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the world of superfoods. The key takeaway really is that your overall dietary pattern, day in and day out, matters infinitely more than any single ingredient. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This helps the channel grow. And check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide. We'll see you in the next explainer.